Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hostess with the mostest, Clayton Kisco. Once again, I got nothing, no nicknames, no monikers, nothing. I'm just straight hitting you with the hostess with the mostest. And I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom Gamers. With us today, we have the A-Train, the Canadian sensation, T-House Allentoner. That was another Canadian dance for you up in Canada with Friday. She'll make more appearances. Next up, we have the man, the artist, formerly known as the Enigma, the wild card, Ian Kane.
What is going on, guys?
Perfect bow forever. Thank you, Ian. We're
Very
waiting
nice,
on Steve
very nice
Landis. The bad boy's too bad for us. He's probably doing something with cops. He'll be here shortly, making my life miserable.
He's
I got
on the run.
heads. What's that?
He's on the run.
He's on the run. He'll be here shortly. And then we have some faces that may look a little unfamiliar to you guys. Two faces. In fact, we have some guests with us, Michelle and Billy from Up Dog Toys. What's going on, Michelle and Billy?
Hello.
How's it going?
Thank you so much. People don't really know how early we podcast, but we podcast at 7 in the morning. And this is incredibly early, and I really appreciate you guys, just dragging yourselves out of bed and putting a face on so that we can film you and ask you questions on a Saturday when you should be sleeping and then waking up with a giant bowl of cereal and watching cartoons. That's what you should be doing.
Yes.
So they're joining us with us. I'm going to talk about some stuff and some things like topics that we have every week for your entertainment that we bring for our discussion. It's going to be 5 topics, and each topic is put onto YouTube, topic by topic, day by day, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday, the full episode with all the topics are rolled up into one big, long thing that you can check out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MaelstromGamers channel. And if you have a little bit extra cash, as little as $1, and you want to support us, you're watching the stuff, you're saying, hey, I'm pretty entertained, or hey, I'm getting some information out of this, I really like it, head on to patreon.com/MaelstromGamers and throw us as little as $1. And it could be one and done. You can have it reoccurring. It's up to you. It's completely in your control. And you get little fancy rewards, such as getting your hat, your name put into a hat to be drawn for a topic of your choosing that we'll discuss. So there's some fun goodies. But look, I understand if you're broke, if you're poor, the economy's not doing so good. We're the top 10 podcast on iTunes, but sometimes you can't give the money to the things that are amazing and successful. So, you got to find free ways to support us too, right? And there's ways to do that. You can go onto YouTube, you can comment, like, subscribe, and share all of our things, all of our YouTube, our Facebook posts, and our Twitter posts with your friends. Spread the word, spread the good word of the Maelstrom Gamers, and we'll be greatly appreciated. Because all that support, all that money goes back into the show. We bring awesome people on, like our guests here, Billy and Michelle. And we get to, update this little, crazy box that we're stuck in here. It's beneficial, and we appreciate it. That's it. Oh, I totally forgot. If you enjoy us talking, you should enjoy us talking while playing video games, showing off our mediocre gaming skills that we stream on YouTube. We're playing League of Legends, a ton of Smite right now. There's actually a civil war going on in between Maelstrom Gamers, between Smite and League of Legends. There's the old guard and the new guard, and the new guard tends to be PS4 lovers. And I am probably all alone with Steve. For some reason, Steve is with me on League of Legends. So we're streaming a ton of that. Check us out. We're doing Late Night Whispers. It's fun stuff. All right. I talked enough. What are you guys doing this weekend? Before we get into it, I just want to check in because I've been away for a week. By the way, Ian, thank you so much for hosting while I was away. You guys did a bang up job, and that is coming out this next week.
Why, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Whoa, double bow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's when you know it's serious. So I'm a little behind. I don't know what you guys have been playing besides the games I already mentioned. What are you doing this weekend? What are you playing? And if you're not playing video games, what are you watching? What are you checking up on? For instance, I really want to watch Stranger Things, but
Dude, that's a great show.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah.
You're gonna totally have a Netflix binge if you start it.
And I plan on that, but it's very scary for Sarah. And the only time we can watch it is during when Xander's asleep, and that's at night. So,
It's okay. Tell Sarah she can tough it out. It's scary, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not horror scary. It's different. It's just it's just weird. It's called Stranger Things, but
Yeah, it's suspenseful. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely binge watched the whole thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I want more.
Season 2's coming out. They announced
really?
it. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Season 2.
Next year, though. Or 2018, maybe.
Probably.
Holy
Sucks
crap.
how slow it goes.
Oh,
I know.
jeez.
I know.
I'll
I want
just
like 5
time travel
Daredevil
stuff.
The
seasons.
kids are
in a
going to
row.
go through puberty. Like,
No, they're gonna like totally come back looking different.
I know
Yeah.
that one kid's so perfectly awkward. The one with like out teeth and like all that
Yeah.
stuff.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The curly hair one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh man, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We watched like the first 10 minutes, and then it just got too weird.
What, really?
Yeah. I mean, to her defense, we just watched Luther, which was like an episode of this guy who likes to like hide under people's beds, and he like
Oh.
creepily comes out, and Sarah just like couldn't handle it, so I had to stop that too. So
That's weird. Like,
yeah.
under
Yeah, that's
bed,
a little weird.
Yeah, and then he was like hiding in the attic, and he had like just like he looked like a mannequin with like plastic on, and then he killed.
Oh.
Like, yeah, he was
That's
creepy,
creepy.
really creepy.
This is a show or a movie?
This is a show called Luther from
Idris
the
Elba.
BBC with Idris
Ah.
Elba, Alan's like #1 James Bond guy, who is still in the running, by the way.
I thought
He would be the
I
best
thought they
Bond.
picked him.
Best,
No, they
best
haven't
Bond.
picked Bond yet. They're actually still
Ah.
trying to get Daniel Craig, which I wonder if that says anything about the candidates: Tom Hiddleston, Fassbender, and Idris Elba. So
Tom Hiddleston's so heartbroken over breaking up with Taylor Swift.
they
so
broke up.
Thank God, yeah.
Wow.
Now you're heartbroken.
Now I'm heartbroken. Okay. Anybody else? Games? Stuff they're watching?
I'm gonna go to a financial advisor.
Nice.
Very
There you go.
adult.
the,
Those are
the
fun.
least fun and interesting thing possible.
They're gonna tell you how to be rich.
Adulting. Yeah.
They're gonna,
That's a
look, you're,
book.
you're spending $800 every month on gum. You need to cut that out.
Damn that gum habit.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. Right on.
I'm actually watching. Have you guys seen The Last Kingdom
Mm-mm.
No.
on Netflix? It's good. It's like,
I've seen like the little like preview box for it.
yeah, you should definitely watch it. It's kind of like Game of Thrones esque to it. Like it's more like Vikings meets Game of Thrones. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Right on.
What are we watching? We do a lot of HBO shows, so
Mm.
Baller skipped last week, and so we're
Yeah, I
looking forward to
know.
that this weekend, and then
The Rock,
Um,
Dwayne Johnson.
That's
yeah,
He's awesome.
and then Vice Principals is super funny too.
That is one of the best shows. It's hilarious.
Hilarious.
It's so good. It like ramped up the past couple episodes, I think.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
So solid. Yeah.
Right on. Cool. Well, we got HBO shows, we got Netflix shows. Notice nobody's talking about cable. And then also, I'm wearing some Titans gear. Happy NFL season start. I know that everyone here is a die-hard, hardcore, foaming at the mouth NFL fan. So I know you guys are as excited as I am for NFL to start. So we
Is
got
that a college team?
we got a lot of great things going. No, it's
What's
not
the
college
Titans?
teams.
See that Millie and I are super NFL people. But
I can tell. I can tell.
Yeah, I love when they score the goals
Yes.
and the make a basket.
Yes.
You know? It's
I
great.
when they get the home run baskets. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
best.
yeah. Cricket on the flip flop on the ding dong. You know. So nice.
I know
All
exactly
right.
what you're talking about.
Right.
Let's get started. So, as tradition, we would like the guests to go first with their topic. So, if you guys would like to, you can start first.
Okay.
Or not,
You don't
or not,
have to.
you know, Whatever.
Alright, so the topic I thought of is something I've been thinking about a lot is what does it mean to be a man in 2016? And kind of like with gender roles, like, are those still a thing? Like do men have to do something different than women? Or whatever you want to call yourself.
Right.
Just like what does that mean now?
I think there's
That's
and my head immediately goes to a couple different layers. Like, what does it mean to be a man growing up right now? What does it mean to be a man who's single out? And then what does it mean to be a man in like a marriage? Because
yeah.
I think they're all very different. They all come with a lot of different stereotypes that I would hope to see break, that I think are still around, even to a subconscious level. Like, for instance, on the marriage thing, which is something that I am much more in tune with because I'm married right now, right? I'm not a teenager. I think trying to be the breadwinner, trying to be that white knight on the horse to fix and solve every problem,
Right.
is a stereotype that exists. One that I think I roll into and I enjoy at times, but there's definitely that pressure, and I think it gets in the way when issues do arise. And I feel like I got to be the one, right or wrong, to find out a solution and then go with it and pick it. Right.
I definitely agree with that. Because like traditionally, you always had the guy that went to work all the time and the wife stayed at home, but now things are kind of changing that role a little bit. So it's I think it's making it easier on men, with having to try to be that breadwinner, but you kind of get more support now, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It's interesting too because I think kids now there's studies are coming out because whoa, Steve just joined us
Out of nowhere.
screwed up everything. Steve, are you there?
I'm allowed to do that.
All right.
Do whatever I want.
So wait, I just want to ask you, Clay and Ian, like,
Yes.
do you still feel like you're responsible to be the breadwinner, and do you think you would be okay if you were not the breadwinner, if like your wife was like making more money, or even if you were unemployed and she was making like most of the household income?
Ian,
Well,
you go for this one.
Definitely, that's actually happened to me. My wife now has a job that she started earlier this year that she actually makes plenty more than me.
Yeah.
So I was always the one, having to try to. I'm not gonna say I was always the one like juggling everything, but it definitely alleviates some of that pressure of, man, I got to go to work. I was working 6 days a week before, and just always that burden of, if I lose my job, what are we ever going to do? Now it's kind of like, oh, well, we both do well. Granted, she's doing better. So it alleviates some of that pressure. And if you think about it, back in the day, most, I would say the stereotypical guy would sit there and be like, oh my God, my wife makes more money than me. I don't mind it. Actually, I kind of enjoy it. So it's helpful. So, but you do get that like little bit of feeling like, oh man, I want to be that breadwinner sometimes. So kind of being a more modern guy now, you still get that a little bit in the back of your head. So
Absolutely.
But do you think that that's maybe just because? All right, okay.
Yeah, in front of the mic. That's great. Thanks, Steve.
Just nice little remix there. Thank you.
You're
Thank
late.
you for that.
You run from the cops. You come in. You start shaking.
Oh, that
out
was
to the
me.
You got your sunglasses on. You got
Yeah.
your hat on backwards,
Yeah.
like a thug.
You.
I gotta turn this down then. You probably hear everything.
No, because I mean, I was just wondering, like, why you guys feel that, other than the fact that history might have played a big part in that. Like you were saying that is something that people used to feel, and I don't know if that's something that was instilled on you. And there goes my camera because of Friday, because of like the way you grew up.
Yeah.
Like your dad, your dad was probably like the breadwinner. He probably made like the bulk of the money growing up.
Yeah.
And he was like, hey, when you grow up, you need to be, have a stable job so you can support your family.
So
Because like that was my background too, but now I feel like I've been way more influenced by kind of how society has shifted. How Billy was talking about, it's like nobody seems to really care, or like, at least the perception is nobody really seems to care who's doing what these days in terms of gender roles. And
right.
like I have no responsibility for myself that I need to be making money, like the most money, or even like a breadwinner, or an employed necessarily, if I had kids or something like that, just because the only reason I like going to work now is because I really enjoy going to work. I like doing work. I'm doing it because it's like fulfilling like a need to, have a creative outlet or whatever. But yeah, I'm curious just why that like sticks to people's psychology, I guess, on why they feel that, my dad was this way, I need to be this way too. I'm sure there's like lots of evolutionary reasons that you need to kind of like carry on those thoughts. I mean, I'm sure genetics has a part of it too, but I feel like it's much more the environment you grow up in rather than like a genetic reason or like evolutionary reason.
I think you nailed it completely on the head. Genetics being the fact there, but also my dad he's 72. He's a little bit older than most of your dads, I believe.
That's my dad's age too, actually.
Okay, so we had a very similar upbringing because they're about a generation. That's a little bit older than normal, right, for our age. They're very much old school, 1950s style. Yeah, it's a breadwinner. Mom stays, cooks, takes care of the kids. My dad never cooked when I was a kid. Like, and then you have society upbringings. You have movies like Mr. Mom that poke fun at the fantastical, fake, never gonna happen idea of a dad Taking care of kids.
Surely you jest.
Whoa! Look out and hold on to your sides. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like you grow up with all that stuff, and you're like, oh, this is funny because this is not what we do. And then,
Right.
it comes to a point where both parents absolutely need to work, and it's such that like if one of them gets a better job, you need that money right now. That's how bad it is, right? So, but for me, it's still hard to. I don't know what it is. I have a competitive type of personality. Maybe that adds to it. But so do you, Alan, and it doesn't seem to affect you. But and it's not that I want to be better than her, but like I want to be better than myself. Like I don't want to allow myself to lose at anything. And to me, winning a part of this life, right, is to make sure that I'm pulling pressure off of her. I want to be the one to do that, I guess. I don't know.
I would definitely agree with that, Clay, because that's how I kind of feel sometimes, is that I don't want to be a lazy bum. I want to contribute. I want to do the best I can, and always. Yeah. But I do tell my wife all the time, I'm like, you need to make a lot of money so I can be a trophy stay-at-home husband. You know?
Like, I'm not going to lie, that'd be amazing.
You gotta meet a few requirements to be a trophy husband.
Look at this.
You know?
Look at this.
You're gonna have to lose the hat. You're probably gonna have to get a fedora, man.
I mean, I always grew up with my mom. With my mom actually just going to work all the time.
Steve, you have to be a little bit louder. I think you.
Testing.
Yeah.
Testing.
There you go.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Let me just that. See, now I'm too low.
Yeah.
You guys could hear this before, but now you can't.
It's okay now.
It's okay now. All right.
It's okay.
How about that?
That's
good
good.
now.
Good.
I was gonna say I always grew up with my mom actually always working and being a single parent and everything. So I mean, I guess that kind of upbringing, like, it doesn't really like affect me or anything like that. As far as now, like Amber, she makes way more money than me, and I'm fine with it. I don't care at all and everything like that. I mean, I didn't have a dad or anything like that, so I was just a small boy. He was never around, and I was just.
And the snow was coming down.
But seriously, it's just fine. I don't.
Well played, sir. Is that what you were doing the last 10 minutes? Was downloading that?
He was prepping that. Yeah, he was like rehearsing that whole
in his head.
I was getting this.
Oh, okay. Nice. Well, that's cool.
It was taking a little longer. The line was just insane. I actually got it for free because it was so long.
Steven? Yeah, you make a good point. There's people who have single mothers and single parents that that contributes to their upbringing and the nature that they were brought up in, right? Yeah. And then we could talk about, I don't know, I can't imagine, I don't want to imagine going back to middle school, thinking about that. But now you have different gender roles, people being much more comfortable coming out, in a society that supports that. Not only through verbal actions, but also looking at the bathroom situation and looking at the fact that, like, we are more accepting of people of, either different gender, like gender identification and, gay, lesbian, queer, and all that stuff. So that, I think, contributes, because that's hard, right? We're on the cusp of changing, but I don't think we're completely there.
Yeah,
and I
don't think it's not quite accepting. I think there's like tiny little like pockets where it's starting to come through.
Right.
And I think once we are like our dad's age, we'll have the whole like multiple generations below us who are like grew up with that, and we're kind of like our generation is like the lawmakers who are going to have this instilled everywhere, because we started to grow up at a time where it's just like why is this any different for anybody else? And then everybody else below us is going to be growing up. They're not even going to know about gender roles or anything like that.
Right.
I think.
But but I guess what I was trying to say, I agree with you. And on top of that, I think what I was trying to say is that, like, it's probably the hardest right now, I would imagine, for that community. Because before, you didn't feel the pressure, or like even it was like black and white. You either came out or you didn't, right? But now you almost feel like it's okay to come out, but you're gonna deal with so much. Like, I feel like you're just gonna deal with people still around that maybe you weren't expecting. Like, I could see a scenario where maybe if you feel comfortable to, but there's just still, it's just not accepted enough widely that you're still gonna have people misunderstand you and bully you, and treat you like crap, which sucks, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that, I don't know. Man, you are, through association, Alan, much more in tune with teen pop and teen magazines. So I'm not sure like what they're talking about in terms of like gender roles, in terms of being. What does it mean to be a man? Like, I don't even know where to begin. I guess to be a man is like, as a kid, it's probably the same stuff, right? Have sex, play sports or something, or like do whatever. Like, I feel like that's what my society where I grew up was like.
See,
that's how you
actually, I don't know. I don't know about that, because I think that was still a big part even when we were growing up. Is like, oh, like you're a virgin, like, oh wow, like I can't believe it, like, dude, why when you're out there like banging chicks or something,
right,
you know?
Right.
And I'm not 100% certain that is the way people are growing up right now. Like, if that is as important as it was like when we were growing up older, but I honestly don't have any idea, like, or sources to say that it is or is not that way. I think there's always going to be that drive just from like an evolutionary standpoint until, we can get away from that. But
I'm not going to talk to my daughter about that or anything.
But yeah, like,
hey, so you doing this and that? I'm trying to eat a fucking Pop-Tart here. What are you doing?
Trying to eat a Pop-Tart. Talk about that.
Well,
Get out of here.
I think for me, it really just comes down to like, is it being a man? Does it like rely on like your physical anatomy? Like, like you have
beard.
Yeah, like do you have like hair all over your body? Do you have like facial hair? Do you have penis? Do you have testicles? Or like what does that mean? Or does it come down to just like
because
who you are, your brain, your personality?
You hit on something.
You identify sexually, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
a man in the theoretical sense. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like the terms in society of like just be a man up, like have balls, right? Like the masculine.
Yeah.
The masculinity of being a man is like romanticized and put on a pedestal in our culture. So like that means to be strong, it means to be the best, it means to be brave, it means to be all these things. But all those attributes are absolutely coming out and being more accepted of the other genders, and not just like, I feel like a man can be very feminine, right? In that sense, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that they're any less of a man. So to be a man in today's, you can be shy, you can be feminine, you can be scared of stuff. That's okay. You could be a woman and have that masculine, quote unquote masculine, which is a horrible name for it now, right? Because it's kind of transcended its old meaning. It doesn't mean you were a man. You could be a female and be strong and be brave and be like, and that's okay too, right? Like there's no right or wrong. It's just who you naturally are. You can be more blunt, you can be more loud, and those attributes can be of any gender or non-gender, I think.
And same thing with the terminology about women too, like don't be a pussy or whatever, like that kind of thing. I feel like is maybe slightly getting phased out, but I still hear that kind of terminology, like those kind of things that like use femininity as like a negative thing,
Dude.
Like all the time. And like Yukiko and I talk about this all the time. Like, it's like she hears somebody say it, when we're playing like a game online or something, and she's just like, how come people have to say like that? Like, how come they can't be like, don't be a penis or something, and it means like you're bad or something,
When one of like the congressmen or senator, like whoever that was, a public government feature, or he came on, he was like, Obama's a pussy. I was like, wow. Wow. And then like everybody in the like I know
Trump said that? I believe it.
No, it was somebody else.
Okay.
It was almost like the beginning of this like populist movement, right, where they believe Obama's not a strong leader, he's a pussy, quote unquote, and like now that's all they say. They're like, oh, he's not a strong leader, Putin's better, and he's a pussy. Like that's all I hear from like local ignorant people. And so like it's terrible. And I don't know if I agree with you, Alan, in the sense that it's being phased out, because if someone could go on public national news and say that, and then it gets caught on. Yeah, I think one thing we talk about too is that when those kind of things happen, how often do you find yourself actually calling people out for it too? Like, because really it is up to like the everyday person to switch this thing around, just like make people question it a little bit. I think just be like, hey, like why would you call him that? He'd be like, oh, because he's weak. I was like, oh, well, why is a pussy weak? And then they would just be like, they birth babies. Like I can imagine they're just like stunned, like right then, like, and then they just have to think about it. Maybe they just call you a pussy afterwards or something. I don't know. But then they're just like,
they'll be like, I don't know, man. Just don't be a douche right now or something.
Yeah, and you're just like, well, okay.
The response you'll probably get is, oh, whatever, who cares? Stop being so PC,
exactly.
right?
And I think it takes just that one like split second where it just kind of clicks in their brain. Something is just like, oh, like oh, never mind. I'm just going to use my defense mechanism, but it's like just there to plant the seed, kind of I have that trickle down.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's hard. Having the like fortitude to say that, to like call somebody out on that. That's definitely another big issue, right?
I've been doing it on Facebook a lot, and it's exhausting because it's like one response after another, after somebody else jumps on, after another response. I'm just like, okay, I'm tired of researching. Do it like because they don't do research. They're just like blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like a hypocrite. I don't want to like say something that's dumb. I'm gonna research everything and be informed. It's crazy.
It is really difficult.
Well, it's just weird too because we're kind of in this weird phase right now where we're trying to identify that gender roles and sexuality and stuff like that, but we're still using terms like, oh, you're such a little bitch, or you're a pussy, or man up, or why don't you have some balls, like. I think, even as a female, I use those terms all the time, which is horrible, right? Like, I'm pretty much, like, playing into everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think right now we're just trying to erase, like, years and years and years of, depending on how old you are, but for me, it's years of, like, just this, like, I don't know, just like all this stuff is like cemented in my head, and it's hard to break it down because we're so used to it, right? Like, we grew up with it, so.
Yeah, it took me a long time to like get "that's so gay" out of my head when I was growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm finally like, I don't say that anymore. Period. So it's like.
Alan knows best in college that I was definitely someone that benefited from constantly being questioned and asked and like being and respectively being like, hey man, you really shouldn't say that. And I'd be like, why? Who fucking cares? I would go, and it takes a while. It took like years for me to finally break that, right? And like transition out of that like thought process. But
that's the thing, is like right? You just need that like Michelle was saying, you just need some to just question it, just so it's there, so that even if you do, keep repeating the same mistake, at least you're like, oh shit, like I shouldn't have said that. So you're just reminding yourself like over and over and over, and then it just takes time.
Yeah, just say that from now on. Just don't be a penis.
Don't be a penis. Don't be a penis.
We could start this.
Because then
this going up right now.
Who knows? Then it'll all swap.
Yeah, we don't want the pendulum to swing.
Why is a penis week?
No.
Hey, what was it? Yukiko said something like she said something about like a new word that we were saying for a while.
Oh, that really
moistens my beef.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's like that really gets my
terrible
goat kind of gets my goat or something like that.
Gets my goat or something. I don't know.
Squirted my goat.
You came up with the original ones, Clay, and they were like disgusting.
Yeah, so like
that really squirts my girt or something.
Yeah, because like I don't know, Sarah and I eat a lot of yogurt, and I was just trying to think of like at the moment I was like, what would be the most disgusting way to ask if she wants some yogurt? I was like, you want some squirt of the girt? She's like, that is gross, clean. And I was like, I know it is. I'm sorry. I immediately apologized. But then I was like, these guys might find it funny, and so I texted all you guys.
Like, yes, found that gratitude.
Okay, is there anything else you guys want to put into final thoughts about this topic before we move on?
There is one thing that I wanted to share. Can't see you. Fucking Friday's in the way.
I just wanted to say.
But yeah, there's Yukiko mentioned this to me, and I did not get a chance to watch this right before the podcast. But if you want to check it out, I'll put it in the links, and maybe we'll have a little link. But there's this TED Talk by this guy named Tony Porter, called A Call to Men. And it's about his experiences growing up and what it's like to be a man, especially like in like a Black American setting, which might have like slightly different set of expectations, especially growing up in low income areas. So I will put a link in the chat, and we can put that in the video afterwards. Take a look at that. It's only about 10 minutes long, and it's really good. I watched the first half of it, so check that out about what it means to be a man.
Sweet. I just wanted to say the man is real. He's out there controlling everything.
You gotta beat the man.
Overseeing everything. So you
Why is it a man?
Is there some foil underneath that hat that you got going on there?
Yeah.
A little bit of foil? Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Just
Look at that.
A lot of hair.
Beautiful locks.
Wow, yeah.
You're never gonna go bald.
Just a lovely mane.
Jeez. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, welcome to the Everything and Nothing Show. I'm just one of your hostess with the mostest, Clayton Kisco. Once again, I got nothing, no nicknames, no monikers, nothing. I'm just straight hitting you with the hostess with the mostest. And I'm accompanied, of course, by the rest of the Maelstrom Gamers. With us today, we have the A-Train, the Canadian sensation, T-House Sound Toner. That was another Canadian dance for you up in Canada with Friday. She'll make more appearances. Next up, we have the man, the artist, formerly known as the Enigma, the wild card, Ian Kane.
What is going on, guys?
Perfect bow forever. Thank you, Ian. We're
Very
waiting
nice-
on Steve
very nice
Landis.
bow.
The bad boy's too bad for us. He's probably doing something with cops. He'll be here shortly, making my life miserable.
He's-
I gotta
he's
greet
on the
cop
run.
heads. What's that?
He's on the run.
He's on the run. He'll be here shortly. And then we have some faces that may look a little unfamiliar to you.
Sarah, she can tough it out. It's scary, but it's not like
Yeah.
it's not like horror scary. It's different. It's just
Michelle-
like kind of it's just weird. You know, it's
Michelle
called
says
Stranger
if you're-
Things,
you
but
tough it
Yeah,
out.
it's like suspenseful. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I definitely binge watched the whole thing, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh man, I want more.
Season 2's coming out. They
Oh,
announced
really?
it. Mm-hmm. Season 2.
Next year, though. Or 2018, maybe.
Probably.
Holy
Sucks
crap.
how slow it goes.
Oh,
I know.
jeez.
I know. I want
just
like 5
time
Daredevil
travel.
The
seasons.
kids are going to go through puberty. Like,
no, they're gonna like totally come back looking different.
I know
Yeah.
that one kid's so perfectly awkward. The one with like out teeth and like all that
Yeah.
stuff.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The curly hair one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah. Oh man, they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. We watched like the first 10 minutes, and then it just got too weird. It's like-
What, really?
yeah. I mean, to her defense, we just watched Luther, which was like an episode of this guy who likes to like hide under people's beds, and he like
Oh.
he comes out, and Sarah just like couldn't handle it, so I had to stop that too. So
That's weird. Like,
yeah.
under
Yeah, that's
bed,
a little
that's
weird.
Yeah,
like-
and then he was like hiding in the attic, and he had like just like he looked like a mannequin with like plastic on, and then he killed.
Oh.
Like, yeah, he was. There's actually a civil war going on in between Maelstrom Gamers, between Smite and League of Legends. There's the old guard and the new guard, and the new guard tends to be PS4 lovers. And I am probably all alone with Steve. For some reason, Steve is with me on League of Legends. So we're streaming a ton of that. Check us out. We're doing Late Night Whispers. It's fun stuff. All right. I talked enough. What are you guys doing this weekend? Before we get into it, I just want to like check in how, because I've been away for a week. By the way, Ian, thank you so much for hosting while I was away. You guys did a bang up job, and that is coming out this next week.
Why? Thank you.
You're
Thank
wel-
you.
Yeah.
Whoa, double bow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's when you know
Yeah.
it's serious. So I'm a little like behind. I don't know what you guys have been playing besides the games I already mentioned. What are you doing this weekend? What are you playing? If you're not playing video games, what are you watching? What are you checking up on? For instance, I really want to watch Stranger Things, but
Dude, that's a great show.
yeah.
Oh my god, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's really good.
You're gonna like totally have a Netflix binge if you start it.
And I plan on that, but it's very scary for Sarah. And the only time we can watch it is during when Xander's asleep, and that's at night. So, and
Oh,
like,
it's okay, sir. Tell us.
and throw us as little as $1, and it could be one and done. You can have it reoccurring. It's up to you. It's completely in your control, and you get little fancy rewards such as getting your hat, your name put into a hat to be drawn for a topic of your choosing that we'll discuss. So there's some fun goodies. But look, I understand if you're broke, if you're poor, the economy's not doing so good. We're the top 10 podcast on iTunes, but sometimes you can't give the money to the things that are amazing and successful. So, you got to find free ways to support us too, right? And there's ways to do that. You can go on to YouTube, you can comment, like, subscribe, and share all of our things, all of our YouTube, our Facebook posts, and our Twitter posts with your friends. Spread the word, spread the good word of the Maelstrom Gamers, and we'll be greatly appreciated. Because all that support, all that money goes back into the show. We bring awesome people on, like our guests here, Billy and Michelle, and we get to like update this little like crazy box that we're stuck in here. So yeah, it's beneficial and we appreciate it. That's it. Oh, I totally forgot. If you enjoy us talking, you should enjoy us talking while playing video games, showing off our mediocre gaming skills that we stream on YouTube. We're playing League of Legends, a ton of Smite right now. You guys, two faces. In fact, we have some guests with us, Michelle and Billy from Updog Toys. What's going on, Michelle and Billy?
Hello.
How's it going?
Thank you so much. People don't really know how early we podcast, but we podcast at 7 in the morning. And this is incredibly early, and I really appreciate you guys just dragging yourselves out of bed and like putting a face on so that we can film
Yeah,
you and
on
ask
a
you questions
Saturday.
on a Saturday when you
Yep.
should be sleeping and then waking up with a giant bowl of cereal and watching cartoons. That's what you should be doing.
Yes.
So they're joining us with us and going to talk about some stuff and some things like topics that we have every week for your entertainment that we bring for our discussion. It's going to be 5 topics, and each topic is put onto YouTube, topic by topic, day by day, Monday through Friday, and then on Saturday, the full episode with all the topics are rolled up into one big, long thing that you can check out on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/MailsFromGamers channel. And if you have a little bit extra cash, as little as $1, and you want to support us, you're watching the stuff, you're saying, hey, I'm pretty entertained, or hey, I'm getting some information out of this, I really like it, head on to patreon.com/MailsFromGamers.